Hamas-led attacks in which about 1,200 Israelis were killed and many others were taken hostage. Mr. Griffiths said Gaza now faced the immediate prospect of shameful man-made famine.
2 people are dead and 7 hurt after a shooting early this morning at a shopping center in Miami-Dade County, Florida. Police Detective Alvaro Zabaleta.
Officers that were working the commercial establishment at the time immediately responded, and there was an exchange of gunfire between the subject and the officer. The officer shot and killed the subject. However, the officer also sustained a gunshot wound to the lower extremity.
Climate activist Greta Thunberg was among those detained in the Netherlands after a demonstration against tax breaks for fossil fuel industries partially blocked a road. There's intense flooding in southern Russia. That's an emergency spokesman in the city of Orsk. Rising waters there caused a dam to burst. Hundreds have been evacuated from their homes. The Final Four takes center stage tonight in men's college basketball. Purdue will take on NC State. The other matchup is UConn versus Alabama. Sports Illustrated reporter Kevin Sweeney.
For Alabama, the strength is their pace and their shooting. I mean, they want to fly up and down the floor, take as many threes as they can, really put pressure on the defense, and have to guard you in ways they don't traditionally have to guard teams.
On the women's side, Iowa and South Carolina will play in tomorrow's championship game. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Paul Gauguin Cruises, French Polynesia's destination expert. Discover all-inclusive luxury cruising in Tahiti and the South Pacific today. Visit pgcruises.com.
My wife and I both, we ended up mildly sick for a few months, and the nasal congestion was probably the worst part. I had like a post-nasal drip, just super congested all the time. We were taking everything we possibly could, but nothing really worked.
Kyrie was miserable until a friend recommended Navage. Navage offers immediate drug-free congestion relief, flushing your nasal passages with refreshing saline and sucking out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Don't live in misery this cold season. Use Navage so you can breathe easier, sleep better, and feel your best right away.
The biggest thing Navage has done has completely cleaned out my nasal passages. It was from the first use. I was able to just clear out anything that was stopping me from breathing correctly. Navage helps me clear the way, literally clear the way, for me to operate better in the rest of my life.
Experience the Navage difference yourself. Navage is available at Navage.com or at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E.
A group of high school students in Montana is giving back, as CBS's Jim Krasula reports.
Members of the National Honor Society at Park High School in Livingston, Montana, including Victoria Gasparakis and Kylie McDonald, are living up to the Honor Society's code.
The entire point of National Honor Society is helping out the school, helping out our community, giving back to our community.
Each individual person who's in NHS kind of has that within themselves. If they want to help their community, they want to help the people around them.
The two, along with fellow NHS members, have established a food pantry at their high school for those in need in their community. Jim Krasula, CBS News.
Boeing may be under scrutiny these days after a number of incidents with its planes in the sky, but on the ground, CEO Dave Calhoun is still making millions of dollars. He's stepping down later this year. In 2023, he received compensation worth almost $33 million. That's an increase of around 45%. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Broadcasting live from the palatial studios of KOKC in Oklahoma City, it's McRoof Talks Insurance. I'm Rick Allen Lippert here with restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCollum.
Good afternoon, sir.
And also here is the next generation HAAG-certified roof inspector Scotty McCollum.
Good windy Saturday to you, Rick.
Running man Eric Yandel is the wizard on the other side of the glass.
Hello there.
And running tomorrow in the Red Bud Classic, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No injuries now, Eric.
Hey.
No injuries.
I had a bad one, and it pulled me out of the running bit for about 6 weeks. It was bad.
Okay.
It was really bad, but we're okay now.
All right.
All right. Well, Eric will answer your phone calls when you call us at 405-478-1520. And we are live streaming the show on the McRoof Talks Insurance YouTube channel. Wave to the folks at home, guys. Hey, we think we fixed the audio issue.
You think?
We think we fixed. I recorded it, played it back. I know we have a buzz in our headphones right now, but it sounded good when I played back the test.
Okay.
That's what matters.
and I'm still working on the video. Anyway, if you watch on the YouTube, you'll be amazed at the opulence of this luxurious Talk Sweet taco truck.
Taco.
Hey now. No.
Act 1 of the show will start with our trivia question and other interesting tidbits, including the word of the week. While we wait for your call, that number, again, 405-478-1520. In Act 2 of the show, we'll have more of your calls and Scotty's View from the Roof. And I love it. In this week's View from the Rooftop, Scotty gets a call from a distressed customer who shares their trying experience with the insurance company. Does McRoof have the answer for their insurance woes? Stay tuned for the explanation of the obvious answer. Then in Act 3, we'll have our Before the Storm tip brought to you by Roof RX and wrap up with some very wise words from Scott's dad brought to you by Energy Q. And coming back from breaks, we have some really obscure historical trivia. Now, the lawyer says I have to tell you that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 80000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing.
Thank you very much.
All right, here we are. April 6th. We're into April already.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
we're into storm
season. Yeah. We might get some yeehaw stuff.
Yeah, we'll
Well,
see.
we didn't get in Oklahoma City. We didn't get what we thought we were going to get last week.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Last week there were lots of people on pins and needles watching the
up northwest of us,
northeast.
Okay,
northeast of us.
Okay,
the northeastern corner caught a couple of the smaller tornadoes.
Okay, yeah,
and there was a fatality involved in that, unfortunately.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
I don't think I heard about that. That's awful.
Anyway,
so Scott, what's our trivia question this week?
Okay, well, this is McRoof Talks Insurance, and part of what we talk about as far as insurance goes is the coverage that you have that applies to your roof. And we think about wind damage, and we think about hail damage. So the trivia question is, the largest hailstone ever in Oklahoma measures 6 inches, but it is a fraction of the largest hailstone ever recorded at 8 inches plus. Ooh. In what state did that hailstone fall?
In what state was the largest hailstone recorded at 8 inches plus? 8 inches.
That's correct.
My goodness.
That's pretty dang big. Well,
that's a small watermelon.
It's bigger than a grapefruit. That's for darn sure.
Cantaloupe size. So if you think you know the answer to what state had the largest hailstone ever recorded, give us a call at 405-478-1520, and the winner will get 2 free tickets to any Carpenter Square Theater production. The rest of the season, we opened a play last night called Fireflies.
Yes.
And a beautiful, beautiful play. Charming. This is one you can take your spouse to and not worry about anything. A lovely play.
Okay, great.
Okay, Scotty, we have a word of the week.
Oh, yes, we do. That word, Rick, today is subrogation.
Now, is that something we need to be concerned about with the censors?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not in the sense that I'm talking about.
All right.
So this is subrogation. Way to go, Eric. A little late on the switch there now, buddy. Okay, so subrogation. This is something that applies to your insurance coverage and could come into play in the event of a loss. And so, Scotty, you going to talk a little bit about what subrogation is?
I was thinking you would.
Well, you go right ahead and give us the definition, first of all.
Okay. Where is that? You have the page. Yeah,
oh,
there we go.
My gosh. We're really organized here, folks.
So the formal definition of subrogation is a situation where an insurer, on behalf of the insured, has a legal right to bring a liability suit against a third party who causes losses to the insured. Insurer maintains the right to seek reimbursement for losses incurred by the insurer at the fault of a third party. So that's a very wordy definition, but I know what it
So basically, if somebody does something that damages you or your property, then the insurance company has the right to recover, to take action to recover from that third party.
Okay.
So your insurance is designed to take care of you. Okay.
Good. That's why I have it.
So the way that let's talk about homeowners insurance, for instance. Okay. So if you had an event at your home that was actually the responsibility of the fault of a third party, your insurance company is going to take care of you. Okay, they're going to respond to your loss. They're going to move you into a hotel if that's required. They're going to rebuild or repair or replace your property. They're going to do all the things that would be involved in a major loss on your homeowner's policy. Okay, and then they're going to begin an action against the third party who might have caused this damage to your property. Okay, Scotty, you got any examples of that?
Well, I've seen
a few on the news
I'm thinking
here
of a
recently
big
in
name
Oklahoma
insurance
City.
companies in the last few years ad campaigns that just seem like ridiculous coincidences that lead to somebody really getting hurt or their property getting hurt.
So tell us.
So say your neighbor's arborist is trimming trees, and maybe there's not the guy who's supposed to grab the stuff before it falls goes on his lunch break, and a tree limb comes crashing through your living room ceiling,
or he falls in a tree in your living room.
Right.
Okay.
Caused by someone else. Not
else.
by nature.
Correct.
I mean, this may be extreme, but you live in let's just say the streets in your neighborhood, they're they don't have a speed limit. Somebody's whipping around the corner, a squirrel pops out of nowhere, and one of your neighbors swerves, crashes into your brick wall, knocks out a corner of your house.
I've seen this on the news in Oklahoma City several times in the last few months. Where last time there was a little bit of snow or ice on the road, somebody drove through somebody's living room.
Right.
These kinds of things. So your insurance company, those are perfect examples. Huh. So those are situations where the insurance company is going to respond to your needs, but they're going to take action against that other party, involve their insurance carriers to the degree that they have insurance, and seek a recovery on that. So I have some other examples for you. We just talked about, the vehicle damage. We talked about the arborist and things that can happen. These are examples from my years and years and years of being a general contractor. Okay, these are things that occurred from time to time that I have personal knowledge of. A plumber sweating pipe, burns a house down. Okay, a lot of times what happens when plumbers are sweating pipe is they're taking care of what's right there in front of them, but they don't realize that they've started a fire in the insulation or in something that's back behind where they're working. And that night, the house burns down. Okay, that's an example. Wood floor guys, these are notorious in the construction industry. Wood floor guys that don't properly dispose of their dust or their stained rags. They don't store store that in bags well away from the property, and overnight spontaneous combustion, and they burn a house down. You know, painters are notorious for causing flash fires. You know, they've got a space that's not properly ventilated. They've got all these things that are building up in there. They've got a faulty extension cord, something arcs or sparks, and all of a sudden they've got a flash fire on their hands. Your neighbor's trampoline. We see this every time there's a windstorm. Your neighbor's trampoline becomes a projectile and comes through your plate glass door in your family room.
Yes.
Okay? So these are examples of situations that happen all the time. We never think about where your insurance company is going to seek recovery from another party, but they're still going to take care of you initially.
Does this apply just to, I'm guessing this doesn't just apply to homeowners or property insurance. This
Well, I was about to say on the commercial end in Oklahoma City, several years ago, there was this big apartment building a week away from opening. They had already
down in
leased and
Nichols
sold a
Hills.
bunch of
Sure.
and it burned over. You know, it burned up real good. And what fire marshal determined that some electric company had done something
not up to code, or
not
something.
up to code. They weren't properly licensed.
Right.
Anyway, and then the attorneys went after the wrong electric company that just had a similar name.
No way.
And made a
mess of it.
Oh my goodness gracious! So that talk about the subrogation times 2.
Yikes.
Well, and it certainly applies to your auto coverage. I mean, you're going to have this situation where your auto insurer is obviously they're taking care of getting your vehicle fixed, but they're going against the other party who was at fault and recovering from them. So those are examples of subrogation. So good word, Scotty.
Our
good word.
Trivia question is still hanging out there. What's the largest hailstone at 8 inches plus? Where
did it fall?
Yeah, where did it fall? In what state?
It was not Oklahoma.
Okay, so there's a good clue. Not Oklahoma. 8-inch plus hailstone. What state did it fall into? If you think you know the answer to that question, give us a call at 405-478-1520.
So we had some big hail in Ada, Oklahoma a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
We talked a little bit about that.
And you've been down there.
Yeah, well, and Scotty's been down on some roofs. I've been down on a couple of my clients' roofs. The hailstone that fell in Ada was, what was it, Scotty?
5.25.
Yeah, 5.25, the largest hailstone ever recorded in Pontotoc County.
Okay.
Prior to that event, the largest hailstone in Pontotoc County was 3.25. So we're talking about almost double the difference. Okay,
and a 2-inch additional diameter on a hailstone. And I don't know, was that the hailstorm where the picture showed that ragged, those jagged spikes?
Exactly. I sent you the picture, and we can talk about this a little bit more after break, but I sent you the picture of what I would call anomalies in that hailstone. I mean, all the little looked like daggers and spikes and all kinds of appendages and things like that. And we can talk a little bit about how those stones form and how that happens the way that did. But the damage that a stone like that does, Scotty was on a roof with Johnny with his trainee, and it was Johnny was just amazed at what a roof like that looked like after that kind of impact.
I imagine it was shredded.
So, yeah, absolutely.
That
it
might
does.
Be a
It's.
good,
I mean, we
turn,
had a storm in Oklahoma City. I think it was 2012, 13, 14, something like that, and it was not large hail. And this was in the Village, Nichols Hills area. This was after the big 2010 storm. And it was not huge hail, but it was hail that was very dense and had all these appendages on it. And it looked like somebody had taken a Swiss Army knife and just stabbed a dagger into those roofs. I mean,
my
that's what it
goodness
did to
gracious.
them,
So we're going to take a break right now. Ben, I know you're holding on the line. We're going to talk to you after the break because you're too long-winded to talk to beforehand. I want to remind everybody you're listening to McRoof Talks Insurance on KOKC FM 95.3 AM 1520. Our trivia question, what state had the largest hailstone ever recorded at 8 inches plus? If you think you know the answer, 478-405-478-1520. We'll be right back.
Talk Radio's new generation, KOKC.
I'm Scott McCollum, and I am McRoof. Don't let that big out-of-pocket expense on your roof claim stand between you and the new roof that you want and need. I'll finance your deductible, non-recoverable depreciation, or your upgrades over 12 to 24 months. No third-party financing, no hassle, in-house financing by McRoof. Call Carly today at 855-766-3405 for details. McRoof.us, where every replacement is a replacement done right.
Homer Stacy was a wholesome, good American kid from Texas. At the age of 18, he enlisted in the United States Army and was stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas. Homer was fascinated with aircraft, so he went to flight school and became an Army Air Corps pilot. Homer Stacy was the pilot of a Convair B-24 Liberator, the Yankee Doodle Dandy. November 11, 1943, Homer and his crew, along with 31 other bombers, flew a mission to destroy a ball bearing plant in occupied France. On the return trip, a mechanical failure caused the plane to drop out of formation, leaving the Yankee Doodle Dandy vulnerable, and shortly thereafter, 7 German Me-109 shot the plane down near Andano, Italy. 4 crew members were killed on board. The others parachuted. 1 was captured and taken prisoner. Homer was among the remaining 5 who made it to Switzerland and returned to duty. Homer Stacy survived World War II, the Korean War, and retired after 21 years of service with numerous awards and citations, not to mention the Purple Heart. Homer Stacy. Homer Stacy McCollum. Scott McCollum's dad. Scott McCollum is McRoof. McRoof is owned and operated by the McCollum family, an honorable, trustworthy red, white, and blue family. If you want to improve or repair your property, call 855-766-3405. Ask for a no-cost roof assessment and home inspection. That's McRoof, 855-766-3405. That's McRoof.
Folks, it's the time of year that we really need to know what kind of shape your roof is in. After all, that roof is going to keep everything that Mother Nature can throw our way off of your personal belongings and away from your family and pets. Give us a call, RoofRx, at 405-877-7663, and I'll come out and take a look at your roof, or Scotty will come out and take a look at your roof, or one of our other qualified inspectors, and this will be an inspection. This will not just be a roofing salesman leaning a ladder against your roof and saying, oh yeah, you need to call your insurance company. We need to get a claim going on this roof. When we get off that roof after doing a thorough inspection, we're going to be able to tell you what the condition of your roof is. If you need some repairs, we can estimate and schedule those repairs for you to where you'll be able to weather the storms that come our way this spring. If you do need to file a claim for hail damage or wind damage on your roof, we'll guide you and advise you along the way to a successful conclusion and outcome for you and your family. Again, inspect, repair, maintain. RoofRx, 405-877-7663.
This is the home of Talk Radio's new generation, KOKC.
And McRoof Talks Insurance back on the air for Act 2 of today's show. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We're live in studio taking your calls to restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCollum and the next generation HAAG-certified roofing inspector Scotty McCollum. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We have obscure historical trivia for you today. On this date in 1772, Catherine the Great, who at the time was Empress of Russia, ended the tax on men with beards that had been was enacted by Tsar Peter the Great in 1698. So, Scotty, you'd be paying a tax. Oh, my goodness.
When I get home.
Now, you folks have heard of in-flight movies, right?
Yeah.
You may have even watched one or two.
Probably.
On this date in 1925, the first film was shown on an airplane.
Wow.
On a British Air. I don't know what the movie was. I can guarantee it was a silent flick. And then, on this date, 1992, voting began on the choice of the Elvis Presley stamp. Now, ultimately, they went with the young Elvis, thankfully, because and I still have a young Elvis stamp somewhere safe in a drawer. Now, either of you guys ever buy the Elvis stamp?
No, I haven't.
No, okay, all right. Well, then,
why, you wanted to buy mine?
No, I have one. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go to Ben. He's been patiently waiting. Hello, Ben.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and talk about me being long-winded. You didn't have to tattle on me.
Yes, I did.
Hello, Ben.
It's all in good fun, gentlemen. Well, first thing is I'm going to take a swing at the trivia question.
Okay,
oh, good.
Let's hear it. Swing away.
Kansas.
Well, you're warm, but not that warm, Ben.
You're going in the right direction. You're going in the right direction. Let's put it that way.
Okay, well, that's process of elimination.
There you go.
So
there you
I just went from batting 1,000 to batting 500.
Okay, all right.
Yep,
well,
true.
You know what? It's like that's how those Hall of Fame baseball players end up at or around 300 at the end of their careers.
Exactly.
You know,
and they get paid to do that.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, quick. I will call Scotty, or if he can come out Monday afternoon, say about 2 or later, if he's not already committed. I finally had time to look at some things, and I do have an L&O coverage. And
well, that's great news.
That's good.
10% of what the
dwelling value is.
Replacement cost valuation.
Yep.
And also in checking on stuff, I still haven't found my original. But the last 3 renewals for certain have shown it. It says 1 year on roof damage, unless it also gives me 24 months if the roof requires an inspection to determine the damage.
Right.
So I don't know where I stand on that.
No, you're good. You're good.
So, I just had to be out of town so much recently with family stuff, deaths and watching things and grandkids and all. I just haven't had a chance to get back to you guys.
It's good to hear from you.
Well, thank you for the update,
You
Ben.
bet.
We appreciate it. And I will be in touch with you coming up early next week, okay?
Okay. Because I got a commitment Monday morning, but I'm free Monday afternoon.
Okay. Well, I'll have to check with Carly, and we'll see what she says. If it's not Monday, maybe Tuesday.
Okay. Tuesday morning I have a doctor's appointment.
Very good. We'll work around your schedule like you already know.
I appreciate it, gentlemen. And again, I'm a little long, but I needed to convey stuff and get through to you since I've been gone so much. And
Well, you did do that, and we're glad you called, Ben.
Yeah, we appreciate you calling and playing the game, and we appreciate hearing from you, Ben, and we'll be in touch with you to set something up for Monday, okay?
Great. Sounds good.
All right,
Have
buddy.
a nice weekend.
Thank you very much.
All right.
So
thank you, Ben. Hey, Scott, I wanted to ask you, how does hail form?
Well, Ben was leading me down a different path, but let's talk about the hail. I'm just fascinated by this, and a lot of people don't really understand that, hail is when the moisture droplets in the clouds get pushed back up into the supercell, back up into the structure, okay? Every time that hailstone starts to fall and there is this indraft of a certain velocity of that updraft, okay, going up that shaft, okay, the stronger that wind going up that shaft is, the larger the hail is going to be because the longer it stays suspended. All right.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
For example, if you had 24 mile an hour updraft, that's only going to get you pea-size hail.
All right.
Okay. If you had 49 mile an hour updraft, now we're up to quarters. Okay. If you had 69 mile an hour updraft, now we're up to the hen eggs. Okay. And if you had 81 mile an hour updraft, okay, we're up to baseball size hail. 98 mile per hour updraft, we're up to grapefruit size hail.
Ooh.
Okay. So what happens is at some point the weight exceeds the force and the hail will fall to the ground. Okay, so the greater the force, the longer that hail stays up there going up and down in that shaft. Okay,
Right.
That's where layer after layer after layer after layer of ice is forming.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's where you get all of these appendages and things that begin, because that's as that is coming down and it's beginning to melt, and all of those little funny appendages and different things form on that hailstone.
Ooh.
Okay, so it literally, this is science.
Right.
I mean, they know what kind, they know what the forces are, and they know, and this is how they can tell us when we're predicting that we're going to have such large hail. They understand the dynamics of that inflow and that upward velocity and how long that hail's going to stay suspended in those shafts, and so they can accurately predict what the size of that hail is going to be.
Well, we've all heard those terms like inflow and updraft a lot when we have wall-to-wall weather coverage.
Sure.
Not words we really want to hear.
Well, I never would have guessed that they've narrowed it down to such specific velocity readings.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty amazing. But to get the kind of hail that that 8-inch hailstone. Well, I don't know how big the grapefruit is, but the grapefruit's not 8 inches. Okay,
Right.
And that was at 98 mile an hour uplift.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
so to get that 8-inch stone that fell someplace north of us, it certainly had to be more than 98 mile per hour updraft.
So speaking of
pretty amazing.
Speaking of 8-inch hailstone north of us, we know it's not Oklahoma. We know it's not Kansas. If you think you know what state got to enjoy the 8-inch plus hailstone, give us a call, 405-478-1520. That's our trivia question. Still hanging out there. The winner will get 2 free tickets to any Carpenter Square Theater production. So, Scotty, I think this would be a good time to go up on the roof. So, what's the view from the rooftop today?
Well, the view from the rooftop title is, "Are you kidding me?" We can say that about a lot of things that we see and hear in the field,
Yeah.
Rick, as you already know. But in this week's episode, I received a call from a customer that I worked with extensively last year. They live down southwest of the metro, in an area, in a pocket of the metro that was impacted by some very large hail, very fierce impact, and I would say at this point probably 9 out of 10 people down there, whether they live in a neighborhood where they've got a big old property sprawled out on acreage, has gotten a new roof. This fellow, he called me. I was sure that I knew what he was going to tell me, and I was very excited to see his name on my phone because I had also recently added him to my follow-ups list, so the timing was perfect. However, he did not tell me anything close to what I thought he was going to tell me, and that is, I had met with the adjuster the first time, strike one, the adjuster and a claim manager, strike two. The second time, insurance company denied the roof yet still. And third and finally, with 2 adjusters, a regional claim manager, and one of our named appraisers that we know who do what we do, but also acts as an appraiser and is a licensed insurance adjuster. And not to a successful outcome. He filed suit. The last time that I heard,
your client did.
My client did. I was sure he was going to tell me that his insurance company has decided to get off the fence, not just pay him for 40% of a roof that he received from them, and settle for a full roof replacement. However, he didn't. He said they have not budged. They're still going through with that, but at the end of the day, he needs a new roof for his and his wife's peace of mind. So we're working on updating the estimate for him. All this just to say, are you kidding me about how his insurance company approved his neighbors across the street, to the left, to the right, but not his. They wanted to stick with a 40% roof replacement on a 12-year-old roof.
Now, let me get this straight. The same insurance company totaled roofs on either side of your client.
Correct.
But your client was only getting an offer for 40%.
Well, and
That's right, Rick.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
kidding me? Let me say this. And our client, Scotty's client, there's nothing special about his roof. Okay, he does not have
a high impact roof.
Exactly.
He doesn't have
a luxury roof. He doesn't have. It's not a Grand Manor. It's not a Belmont IR. It's not even an impact resistant shingle. There's nothing special about his roof. It's an architectural laminate shingle, and it's kind of a mind-boggling thing. It really is. It's something that we deal with on a pretty regular basis, and certainly a whole lot more often now than what we have in the past. And there are a couple of, without naming names or anything, there are a couple of what I consider, fairly bad actors out there in the marketplace. Where we know that if it is one of these two insurance companies, we've got a pretty good idea what line they're going to tow and what their positions are going to be. The same insurance company that is involved in Scotty's case received a lot of documents from McRoof this past week on, I believe I counted this morning, it was 8 or 10 different clients where we reached such an impasse that everything that is available to the insured in terms of a way to solve that issue short of filing a lawsuit is now where that will go on every one of those. And so they will have received proofs of loss with copies of the supplementation that was written by us. They have received demands for appraisal. They've received the assignments of benefits from the clients to McRoof. And so now this thing will hopefully, the insurance companies now have a specific period of time contractually obligated to respond within a certain number of days and either solve or settle or resolve the issues, the differences, or move forward to that appraisal process. So anyway,
it looks like Rick might have had a question about my customer's case.
Well, the summary that you sent to me I got the impression that when what was the question? Does McRoof
have what it takes to resolve this issue? In this case, Rick, that is to be determined.
To be determined. Oh my goodness!
But I will say this, in all honesty, this client reached a point where they made the decision to go it on their own.
Okay.
Well, not on their own. They just chose a different route. They chose legal action versus letting Scott handle things.
They were not going to walk through every step of my process, McRoof's process. They just decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on the legal action.
And with that, we'll take our break. We'll be back with Act 3 of today's show. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We're live in studio with Scott McCollum and Scotty McCollum. Our trivia question is still out there. What state saw the largest hailstone ever recorded at 8+ inches? If you think you know the answer, or you have another question about roofing or in homeowners insurance or commercial insurance, give us a call, 405-478-1520.
Talk radio's new generation, KOKC.
I'm Scott McCollum, and I am McRoof. McRoof and Certainteed are the team you need on your roof. Certainteed's impact-resistant lineup is unbeatable. Northgate Climate Flex, Presidential Shake, or the slate look of Belmont IR, or the King of Shingles, Grand Manor. Call Carly today at 855-766-3405 or go to McRoof.us. McRoof.us, where every replacement is a replacement done right.
Honoring America's Warriors is an Oklahoma-based 501c3 nonprofit that is committed to honoring our heroes and healing our warriors. Honoring America's Warriors provides teams of disabled combat veterans in service dress uniform to augment military honors for our brave that have served our country. Honoring America's Warriors also provides outdoor activities to get our returning veterans peer-to-peer with other veterans in a non-medical environment. To learn more or to donate, go to honoringamericaswarriors.org today.
Folks, with our spring storm season upon us, we know the next thing that's going to come is going to be the summer heat and that hot attic and that uncomfortable feeling in your home. Now's the time to take a look at Energy Q, our NASA technology 5-layer double foil radiant barrier that we install right on top of your roof if we're doing a roof replacement. We drape it to the bottom of your rafters if we're not, or we can lay it as a blanket on the attic floor. Give us a call at 855-766-3405 and let's get you a quote on that radiant barrier that will keep 98% of the radiant energy from ever entering your home. McRoof and Energy Q, a cool solution for your home.
And McRoof Talks Insurance back on the air for Act 3 of today's show. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We're live in studio with restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCollum, the next generation HAAG-certified roofing inspector Scotty McCollum. And on this date in 1808, John Jacob Astor, you've heard of Waldorf Astoria, hotel. That's the John Jacob Astor, incorporated the American Fur Company, 1808. Made a lot of money off of those furs. Hey, you guys ever eat a Twinkie?
It's been a while, right?
It was probably made in 1930 when Hostess Twinkies were invented by a bakery executive named James Dewar.
I think they're meant to weather the apocalypse.
And then, on this date in 1992, George Harrison played his final full concert at London's Royal Albert Hall.
There you go.
Yeah. Here we go. And that's enough of that. Okay. All right. So I believe we have Eleanor on the line. Let's talk to Eleanor.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
We're great, Eleanor. How are you?
I'm just doing great.
Good.
That's good to hear.
Uh-huh.
Well, you think
So what
you've
do I
got
need
the
to
answer
say
to our
then?
trivia question?
South Dakota.
Hey! Way to go, Eleanor.
I really didn't think anybody would get it, Eleanor.
Well, I'm a smart cookie.
There you go.
Must be.
There you go.
Well, Eleanor, you've just won 2 free tickets to Carpenter Square Theater, and Here's a little bit of trivia. The show that we opened last night, the main character is named Eleanor.
Oh, my goodness.
It was a star-crossed event today, wasn't it?
And I'm going to email you. I want you to give Eric your email address if you haven't already done that. I'll send you a voucher for 2 free tickets. And
okay.
And this is a charming romantic comedy about late life love set in a small town in South Texas.
There you
go. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Eleanor. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
All right.
Okay.
You too. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Well, Rick, this is McRoof Talks Insurance.
Yes, it is.
And so I was sitting there this morning. I was thinking, we talk about inspecting people's roofs, and we talk about getting ready for storm season and all those kinds of things. And it just occurred to me that, there are things that you need to get in shape for storm season other than your home, your personal property. You need to get your insurance coverage in shape for storm season. Okay. So I put together a real quick list for folks, and I think we need to put this on the website, okay, and have it someplace where people can get to it. So the first question for you is my policy a replacement cost value policy, or is it an actual cash value policy? And we've talked about this over the years, the difference being one is replacement cost, regardless of what that is, current value, and the other is a depreciated basis based on the age or the life of that roof or whatever it is. So if your policy is a replacement cost policy, are there limitations on your roof? You go, what are you talking about, Scotty? What do you mean?
Well, some insurance companies, they call their policies a replacement cost policy, but there's a specific set of verbiage which applies to the roof covering. They call that a roof surfaces payment schedule. And that sounds like, hey, they're going to pay me for my roof. That's great.
Sounds like a bunch of insurance gobbledygooks. What it sounds like to me. So.
But what it actually is it's a prorated coverage, which is a depreciated form of coverage on your roof, which applies to, applies to every primary material on the roof. Is how they usually write it. They take depreciation on the shingles, they take depreciation on the underlayment, they take depreciation on the starter and hip and ridge. Those are usually the 4 biggest components of a roof estimate, and they take the depreciation out of that not to be paid on the back end as recoverable depreciation.
So they've called it a replacement cost policy, but they put on it this payment schedule that tells you what they're going to pay you. So you have to read between the lines, and we have a lot of people go, oh, I think I have a replacement cost policy on my roof. Well, no, you really don't. So some other things, we see policies where roofs are excluded, maybe roofs in such condition or such an age or something like that, the roof is excluded. I think if your roof was excluded, you would probably know that. We have actual cash value roofs. We have roof payment schedules. We have metal roof exclusions. We see that where the metal components on a roof are not going to be paid for. Your drip edge, your valley metal, your vent caps, different things like that. If it's metal,
well, let me make a slight distinction too. There are metal roof endorsements which exclude coverage on a metal roof that's deemed to be cosmetic. There are also what insurance companies are getting more specific about this these days: metal marring exclusions.
There you go.
Metal marring is on any roof metal that's an accessory surface, like a vent flashing, your guttering,
chimney cap,
chimney flue chase, whatever the case may be.
So then there's another thing that comes into play where we see on a lot of, let me just say, the economy policies. There will be wording in there that limits the number of layers that they will pay for. If you have a multi-layer roof, they're only going to pay to remove 1 layer. They're not going to pay for what's underneath it. Those also have limitations in them in terms of the roof deck or the roof surface, typically saying that regardless of other coverages, they're not going to pay for that. Okay, so these are things you need to be aware of as far as your roof coverage, whether you think you have a replacement cost policy or an actual cash value policy. You need to dig into this. Do you have ordinance or law coverage? We talk about ordinance law all the time. We talk about the things that's going to get the insurance company to pay for you if you have the coverage. If you have the coverage, what is the percentage? In other words, it's typically, as Ben said a little while ago, 10% of his dwelling amount. Well, is 10% of his dwelling amount enough to cover his reed deck, his chimney crickets, his whatever else it might be? You see what I'm saying? So you need to know what that number is. You can increase that number. Okay? Just like you can add O&L coverage if you don't already have it. You can increase the percentage on O&L. I have a customer the other day, has a bunch of metal buildings. And he and I had talked about that he needed to increase his dwelling extensions coverage. Okay, again, standard coverage for dwelling extensions. That's things other than the dwelling. Okay, that's the shop, that's the barn, that's the storage shed, that's all those things. The standard limit is 10% of the dwelling value. Well, he had as much value at least in all those buildings as the value of his dwelling. So 10% is not going to cut it. Okay? So these are the kinds of things that people need to know about. What is my standard perils deductible? What's standard perils? Fire. Okay? What's my standard perils deductible? Typically $1,000. What's my wind and hail deductible? Typically at least double that. Okay, you need to know, are values in line? You know, is the value of my dwelling, my structure, is that in line? Are my contents values in line? Okay, there's a coverage called additional living expense. Is that consistent with what we would have to do if we were impacted? Say you're one of these people that has, Scotty, think of your customer that you talked about last week with the kangaroos and the exotic birds and everything out there at his property. Mm-hmm. Think what he would have to do in the event of a major, if there was a major event in terms of his, additional living expense, temporary housing. What does he do with all the animals? How does you see what I'm saying? Wildlife relocation, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so here's an asterisk when I wrote this list. Have you remodeled, added on, or added structures on your property? If you have done that since your policy was renewed or you last spoke with your agent or evaluated your values, you need to get this done now.
Here's my question. How is the average person supposed to understand all of this if they just ask their insurance agent, am I covered? Do I have good coverage? And the agent says, yeah, you have great coverage.
Well, this is
just because when I can't sleep, I get out my insurance policy and start reading, and I am out like a light.
Well, and unfortunately, that's what I'm talking about. Scotty and I had a conversation this morning. I think this is the kind of thing that I would like to see. This is the kind of thing that I would like to see insurance companies taking an active role in educating consumers. But I hate to say it, but I believe that's probably not in their best interest.
No, it's not.
But it certainly is the kind of thing that I believe that our insurance commissioner could be doing public service announcements about things like I'm talking about right now.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that, it's just like medicine. If you get a diagnosis from a doctor and you don't like that diagnosis, what are you going to do? You're going to get a second opinion, or you get a serious diagnosis. You're going to get a second opinion. You're going to make sure. You're going to do your due diligence. People do not do their due diligence on insurance.
But the thing is, when they use this doublespeak, like when you think you have replacement cost value, and that's the heading of the paragraph, but then within that paragraph is
they've attached that roof payment schedule.
That roof payment schedule, and you just kind of skim over it because you go, okay, there's the payment schedule. I mean, what insurance company is actually going to call that to your attention and say, well, here's where we're doing the flim-flam.
Well, it's much worse than that. And
Very few. I would bet none.
None.
It's much worse than that. It's that, we've talked about where people get their renewal policy and they just throw it in the desk drawer, write the check and throw it in the desk drawer.
Yeah.
The insurance company is not taking any extraordinary measures to tell you about everything that is not in this policy we just sent you that was in your last policy.
Exactly.
And that is something that we need legislative fixes on, and we need administrative fixes on to make sure that the insurance companies have to let you know where everything has changed. It worries me that so many people buy insurance online now with no agent or no local representation at all.
Right.
They're buying a pig in a poke.
Yeah. Well, we have storms on the horizon at some point because it's April and it will be storm season. What's our Roof RX before the storm tip?
Well, it's so today our Roof RX storm tip is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be, instead of evaluating your home, I want you to evaluate your homeowner's insurance before the storm.
Good tip.
I want you to go to the desk drawer. I want you to get that policy out. Make sure that it is the policy for the current period of time.
Guilty as charged.
Make sure it is the policy for the current period of time, and I want you to evaluate this insurance policy. I tell you what, let's make it really easy for you. By the end of the day today, I will have posted on the website McRoof.us. I will have posted on the website this list of things that I want you to be able to answer these questions. I told Scotty this morning, I guarantee you that 95 out of 100 people, regardless of how educated, professional they are, could not answer half of the questions on this list.
I'm sure you're right.
These are things that will impact the thing that is important to everyone. Everyone wants to know this on an insurance claim. Everybody understands they've got to pay their deductible. They want to know, what is my out-of-pocket going to be? The questions that you're going to ask about your coverage, the answers that you're going to find, and the changes you're going to make to your policy are going to greatly impact your out-of-pocket in the event of a major weather event for you this season.
In a positive way.
Yes.
Well, I just got a text from the lawyer. He was anxious for me to remind you all that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 80000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. All right, gentlemen, as we head out for the week, any parting words before we get to Dad's wisdom?
Nope, just inspect that insurance policy, and if you want to walk around and do that visual inspection, I know the wind is howling again today.
Oh, my goodness gracious. The eclipse is coming up on Monday.
Eclipse is coming up on Monday, and for those of you who are traveling somewhere, please be safe, and everyone enjoy that. Hopefully we'll have a clear enough skies that we're going to be able to get a pretty good view of it.
And I want to hear your eclipse stories next Saturday when we reconvene.
Yeah, I'm curious what my guys are going to do when that happens, when they're in the middle of roofing. Are they just going to
with a hammer and stop for a few minutes?
So we'll see.
Hey, boss, it got dark out here.
So Scotty will reach out to Ben, and we'll get him taken care of, and we'll go from there.
Yep. All right. So do we have dueling Dad's wisdoms?
No. What was yours, Scotty?
They went with yours.
Oh, they did?
Mine was more of an Uncle John's wisdom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember what yours was. Okay, so Dad's wisdom: people should be more like flowers. Just open up, turn to the sun, and be beautiful.
There you go. This has been episode number 7 of McRoof Talks Insurance on KOKC. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We've been listening to restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCollum and HAAG-certified roofing inspector Scotty McCollum. Thank you, Eric Yandel.
Thanks, Eric.
Man. Enjoy your run tomorrow at the Redbud Classic.
Thank you very much.
I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We will all be back next Saturday.
Have a great week, everyone.
$15.20 and 92 or 95.3 rather, KOKC, Oklahoma City. It is time for Bedlam Baseball from Stillwater. The OU men's baseball team takes on Stillwater at Stillwater. Right now, let's join the Sooner Sports Network